You're listening to Living Off Grit. I am your host, Lucia, and we're back for another episode. I first want to take the time to thank everybody who sent all their love and good energy to my friend Alyssa. She has pulled through and is now out of the ICU and home recovering. So I just want to thank all of you for reaching out in regards to her, and also anybody who just sent their good wishes. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's jump right in. Have you ever wanted to go somewhere and it took you 15 years to get there? I was and have always been, since I was younger, I would say obsessed with New York and the possibility of visiting and figuring out what this grand place was felt like it was my mission in life. When I was around 10 or 11 years old, my mom gave me this clothespin of New York City. It was the Statue of Liberty, the year 1986, and it had a comet in the background. Now, at 10 or 11, I had no idea what this meant, right? To me, the little pin was just this magical thing of seeing the sky and the Statue of Liberty, and just, I guess the composition of the pin was so striking to me as a little girl that I just kept wondering what this place was. I had no idea. So this is, 10, 11-year-old me just wanting to go to New York someday. And obviously I can't take myself, and it never came to mind to bring it up to my mom or my dad to say, hey, take me to New York. I just always felt I'm going to take myself there. I have to end up there. I have to go there someday. And, through high school, I always told myself that I was going to live in New York and be in New York. And because I did musicals and acting, I wanted to go to NYU and be in musicals and all this stuff, once I obviously knew where New York was and what New York actually had to offer, I became even more in love. I'm like, whoa, it has all of this and I can go there whenever I want. Later down the line, I learned that it was actually Halley's Comet of 1986, which was pictured in the little pin. Unfortunately, I believe maybe when I moved out of my home is when it got lost. I have been looking for that pin since I was 18, 19 years old. And I cannot find it anywhere. I've looked for it online. I've tried to find pins that are similar or anything like that. I cannot find it anywhere at all. So unfortunately the pin is gone, but honestly the love for New York remained. And it wasn't until I was maybe 25 is when I finally went to New York. I could have gone before then, but at the time I was in a relationship and I was always waiting for this person to want to go or to plan to go, and in the end I got tired of waiting, so I just booked it and went on my own, which honestly was probably the best decision anyway. I had a blast. It was amazing. I couldn't believe that I had waited to visit only because somebody else wouldn't go with me. It was just as magical as I kind of figured that it would be just by this little pin. But that moment with the pin and New York, and even before seeing the shooting star, had such a deeper meaning. It wasn't just, oh, I wanted to go to New York. Again, I didn't know where that was on the map. I didn't, geographically understand New York and what it encompassed at all. So in my mind, I saw New York as the entire world that I had to go see. And from that moment, I just wanted to explore anything that was out there. I mean, New York could have been in Thailand. You know what I mean? I was just so like disconnected from the map when I saw this little pin. I wasn't thinking like, oh yes, I remember the map and New York is on the East Coast and all this stuff. Like, no, you're just in that moment. I was just like, oh man, like I just want to see the world and I can't wait to take it all in and see it all and be there and experience it. And mind you, to have those thoughts that young, you can tell the kind of person that I am. I am quite passionate. I am quite connected to my emotions and to my dreams and the things that I want out of my life. On top of not waiting for my partner at the time to decide to go, it felt like a sense of urgency that I had to go to New York, that you need to live every day as greatly as possible and to just go for it, because it can be over at any moment. And I know that sounds really dark, but it's true. It's, man, and when you're young and even if you're not young, I mean, for me, I was in my 20s when I first went to New York, but still, we stop ourselves so often because somebody doesn't go with us, or because it's too far, or because you don't know how you're going to get the money to get there. But if you really want to get there, you will save the money and you will go. Now, the reason for me talking about this is because I have waited such a long time to take a huge trip. I've been out of the US in regard to Mexico, and I've been out of state as well to several states, but never overseas. And one of the bigger dreams that I had was to also visit Italy. I am completely in love with their food and their culture, and that to me was the first place that I was going to go to out of the United States. Now, something happened during COVID, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people felt this way, that they wanted to just get out of their house and finally live life, because you never know when something is just going to go down, right? And in my mind, I told myself, you know what, Lucia, you've been waiting for years to go to Italy as well, or to go to Europe or the UK. And why not just do it? Just say F it. You've never been, you've never gone. Like, the time is now. And unfortunately, Italy was having a lot of restrictions. They were probably one of the most difficult places to visit, because they would change all the restrictions all the time, and it just got too wishy-washy for me, that I didn't want to book a trip to Italy that was going to be canceled at the last minute, or they would require more things in regards to testing and things like that. So it doesn't matter. The point is that I am living my life, and while I did not decide to book Italy, I did decide on something else, somewhere else. And at the beginning of this year, I started a vision board. Now, I do this all the time, not necessarily for the new year, but I try to do that in a journal, and just to write down exactly what I want for myself, not necessarily that I have a timeline for that year, but something that I want to get done within a certain time frame. So I did my vision board. My vision board had, Italy and other places. One of them was the UK. And I will be going to the UK next week. I will be gone for a month. And the reason for this trip is to finally do something for myself that is all about me and living life, and really taking the time to explore a place and fall in love with anything there. Like, I am so into architecture and history, and because Italy was just so wishy-washy, I really just wanted to go someplace else that would inspire me to continue living life and exploring. And because I am a writer, because I do love poetry, and because I am so connected to historical buildings and architecture, that is why I chose Scotland. And let me tell you, I'm so excited. I have never felt this excitement in a very long time. Only because it's something completely different, something that I am making come true, something that is on my vision board, and that's already one of the many things that I have already crossed off. This is going to add to my book that I am writing, and I just can't wait for you guys to kind of just see it all come together. And I just wanted to announce that, to just follow your dreams, go for it. Look, yes, I'm going for a month, right? But all of that was planned. All of that I saved because I wanted to do it. And I know so many people want to travel, and they're always thinking that it costs too much, that this and that. Yes, it is costly, right? Because it does cost money to travel overseas. But if you really want to do it, you can, and you can save your money, and you can have that hotel or Airbnb, or just go do it. And it doesn't mean you have to buy everything luxurious and all of this stuff. Like, at the end of the day, it is for an experience. And that is why I'm going. And I cannot believe it has taken me about 20 years for me to go overseas, which is something that I've always wanted to do. And there were so many reasons why, right? When you have a family, you don't want to miss them. You don't want to make them feel like they're going to miss you for such a long time, or you feel obligated to stay for some reason, or a job, or whatever. And unfortunately, life is too short. I keep telling myself I have nothing holding me back. And I'm not saying that kids hold you back, or husband, or anything like that. But what I mean is, if I don't have any ties, why don't I just jump? There's a whole world out there for us to see, for us to experience. And if you're not that kind of person, and you're okay not exploring the world, that's fine too. But what I mean is, if it's for somebody who really, it gets them in the deep in the heart, that they just want to explore the world because there's so much out there, to that person, I tell you to please try your hardest to save up the money to do it. It will be worth it. I'm not even over there yet, and to me, it's already worth it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who, the people I'm going to meet, or the environment I'll be in, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be life-changing. And there are other places that I could potentially go to that will also be marked off of my list, and if I can make it to those places, I will. And if not, also, those places will be there for me to explore later if I want to go later. Nothing is definitive, right? And I think that we get scared that, oh, if I spend this money, I'm not going to have this money anymore. If I go to this trip, I'm not going to be able to make more trips. If I spend this money, then I can't take care of my kids. I can't pay for their schooling. Now, obviously, if those things are in jeopardy, that completely makes sense. What I'm saying is, if those things aren't in jeopardy, and even if you have kids and a wife or a husband or a partner, and all you want to do is show your kids or be with your partner, and both of you just want to explore the world, it's possible. I'm telling you from somebody who, even just going to New York during that time, times were rough. Times were really, really rough during that time. And I still made it happen because it was something that really called me. It was something that I wanted to do. And I know to a lot of people, oh, New York's just New York. Whatever that place is to you, whatever New York was to me back then, if you have a place like that for you now, please start saving up for it if you don't have the money now. And if you do have the money, don't wait. Don't wait on some job to give you days off. Like, for me, yes, I don't have a job now, but when I booked this trip, in my mind, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm going to be without a job and anything like that. To me, I'm going to book this trip, even if it's for a month. And although I only get 5 vacation days, if my boss does not approve it, it doesn't matter to me. Like, this is way more important to me than some job that they're just going to replace me if I'm no longer there. And if you're the kind of person who can just get another job because you've had so much experience, then what is there to worry about? And I think that's what I thought in my head. I just thought, well, I've already had multiple great jobs. And if I really see myself traveling for a month and I get fired over it because they're not going to approve it, then I'm just going to say F it. I mean, we are so tied to things that are not important. Yes, jobs are important to pay your bills, but also living life is important. I'm tired of living life to work. It is so unfair. There are so many other people who do not live in the US who have work-life balance or are working at jobs who understand that, and they have 30 days of vacation, 10 days, 15 days. Are you kidding me? I think I've had maybe one job where I get 2 weeks. Other than that, it's 5 days. It's laughable. Out of an entire year, 365 days, you get 5 days to have a vacation. Most people, when they have a vacation days, like, they use them for sick days if they don't have them separate. And I didn't have them separate. And I'm so glad I don't have a job now, because I can just go and do my month in the UK and not worry about anything. And I want to end off this episode just to remind you to live your life, to follow your dreams, to not let anyone or anything hold you back, that your dreams are yours, and whether you have kids or not, it is possible to still make them happen. And I say that not because obviously I don't have kids, but because I know people who still make their dreams happen while having kids. Now, I will be recording from Scotland, but not this upcoming week. It will be in 2 weeks, because next week is a travel day and I'll be pre-recording that episode. But yeah, for the next month, all the podcasts will be live from Scotland. Thank you again for listening. Don't forget to follow me on Living Off Grit. And please give me your feedback. It's okay if you DM me and send me messages. I also soon want to do a Q&A of some sort, so you can get to know me a little bit better, and I'll be asking you guys to send in your questions, or if you need advice on something. I think that would be a great one, because I have been receiving a few messages of people telling me that they can relate to me, or that I help them in some way, and if I can give them advice on something else. So I would really like to do that as well. Again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.